Konobori Wind Carps Part 1, Creating the Design. Hi friends, today we're going to be working on our wind carps. We're going to start with some materials. You're going to need Sharpies. You're going to need a wind carp that's made out of coffee filters, some watercolor paint, some glue, tin foil, and you're going to get 2 sheets that have lines on them, and the other will have shapes to help with our design. The wind carps are made out of a coffee filter. You're going to get one wind carp, and you're also going to get one of these little sticks that's going to help to keep the mouth of the wind carp open so that when we hang it, it won't rip. So we're going to start by flattening out our carp. We're going to hold it the wide way. And like I said, it is made out of a coffee filter, so it's very absorbent. And because of that, you do need to put a piece of tin foil down on the table and then put the carp on top of this. So as you're working, you're not going to remove the tin foil now until the carp is finished. We have these 2 instruction pages. One has shapes on it, the other has lines, and we're going to use those to inspire us when we go to make our design. I'm going to start with a black Sharpie, and so we're going to do all of our Sharpie line in black first. Across the mouth, I want you to write your first name, and this has to be in Sharpie. If you do it with a regular marker, it's going to run when we go to paint it. And then I'd like you to add your class code so we don't get confused, and I can pass these back to you at the end. So your name and your class code. So I'm looking at my shapes here, and I'm going to do a little heart design around the outside of the eye. Now, instead of moving the actual carp, if you need to turn it around, try to keep it on the tinfoil at all times. This paper is very thin, and the marker, the Sharpie, the watercolors, everything's going to bleed through. And I would really like you to take your time and to look at the shape page and to pick at least 4 different shapes to incorporate in your carp. Next, I'm looking at my line chart, and similar to the shape chart, I'm going to start to use some different lines. I'd like you to pick at least 4 to use somewhere on your carp. And I'm using a circle chain design here up on the top. So as you continue with your design, I'd like you to use the sheets that have lines and shapes on them as inspiration for the designs that you will do on your wind carps. I cannot stress enough, don't move the carp. If you're going to move it, you need to move it with the tin foil. These are so thin that the markers are going to go right through. So make sure anytime you turn, you keep the tin foil underneath and you move it as one piece. And I want you to address all of the carp. The scales, the tail, the eyes, and the fins. So all of these elements should have a design on them. You're going to have one class to do the design, and then the next class to finish up and to do the Sharpie marker. And then the last class will be painting with the watercolors. So you'll notice that I started to color in with the colored Sharpies, but after reviewing this, I would like you just to do all of your line work for class 1, where you're just doing the black marker, and then for class 2, we'll take out the colored Sharpies and you can finish your design with the colored Sharpies, coloring your different shapes in next class. So just do your black lines today. All right, so now I'm going to draw a couple of circles around the eyes so we can emphasize the eyes so that you notice them. And then I'm going to add 2 curve lines at the bottom of each eye. When I go to paint this, I'm going to leave the center of the eye white and just have my little heart design so it shows up. Next, I'm looking at my type of line sheet, and I picked another line. I'm going to use a wavy line. Notice I turned my cod on the tinfoil. Don't just move the cod. Make sure that you turn it on the tinfoil. And I'm drawing enough wavy lines here so that I have enough space so that I can put a rainbow pattern in, because I decided that I was going to paint this as a rainbow fish. All right, once you have the tail done, you can turn the fish back around with the tinfoil. And now I'm going to address these little scales. And I'm going to make a little line pattern. You can make a shape in each of these scales, just something so that the scales stand out a little bit. I'm going to do each one of them. And I was counting my waves here to make sure I had enough to actually do a full rainbow. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of drawing on this. You'll notice that inside each of the scales I added a little heart, and I'm doing what I just told you not to do. I am moving my carp around and not moving it with the tin foil, so sorry, I completely forgot. I'm adding one more little design along the edge of the fishtail, and I'm in pretty good shape now. I have a lot of design on here. I have a lot of shapes. And I'm going to leave it nice and flat on this tin foil until the next class.